When a device comes into my office with a name like Galaxy Stellar, I want to find out if the device is actually as stellar as the name implies. How's it going, guys? I'm Aaron from PhoneDog.com, and for free, you can get a Samsung Galaxy Stellar on Verizon Wireless. So it may not be the highest end device by any means, but it's packing a 1.2 gigahertz dual-core processor, still has a nice 2,100 milliamp hour battery, and 4G LTE connectivity for $0 after mail-in rebate. Is it worth it? Is it worth it for you or somebody in your family? We'll find out in the unboxing, but first, some love to Best Buy Mobile for giving us devices like this for use in PhoneDog's One-Pawed Bandit game, which we turn around and award the devices to you at instantwin.phonedog.com, so be sure to check that out. When you go into Best Buy Mobile, you'll walk out working. They'll help you set up your email, your web, your contacts, and settings, so when you walk out the door, you're good to go. Let's take a look. Galaxy Stellar. Is the name really cracked? Is it all it's cracked up to be? We'll find out starting right now. As we jump into the Q4 in the holiday season, there are a bunch of different price points. We've talked a lot about the $99.99 price point and the great devices that are available right now and the great devices that are coming later in the month and later in Q4. We haven't talked about the free price point, and that is a price point that's pretty interesting as well. Somebody, perhaps a first-time smartphone buyer, somebody that's buying for their kids, may not want to spend $100 on a device, and for those people, this could be a nice option. It's the Samsung Galaxy Stellar. It's in today from Verizon Wireless. Special thanks to them for giving us a review unit. And just to give you a rundown specs-wise here, you've got a 1.2 gigahertz dual-core Snapdragon S4 CPU, a 4-inch WVGA display, 800 by 480 pixels. You've got 4G LTE connectivity here, so you're getting it free after rebates, and you're getting 4G LTE connectivity, which is pretty nice all around. Then you're getting Android 4.0 with TouchWiz as the user interface. Then you're getting a 3.2 megapixel camera, so you can obviously see some of the basic specs here, like 3.2 megapixel camera. You're noticing it doesn't have a flash. Obviously, there are places where they've cut costs. That said, it's still a nice option, or looks to be a nice option, if you're looking for something for free, perhaps for mom, for grandma, for, again, that teenage son, daughter, you want them to have a phone to drive with, although I'm sure quite a few people have phones these days. But this could be a nice upgrade if you're moving up from a feature phone into a smartphone. Specs-wise, you've got a 2,100 milliamp hour battery as well, and then you have a front-facing camera over there. So let's put this back on, let's power it on and take a look. In the box, you get a couple of things: an LTE SIM card, you get a Samsung adapter, you get a USB cable, and then you get product safety and warranty information, your start guides, and more, as you can see in the box, which it looks like Verizon's standardizing their box format over to this, which I actually like quite a bit. I think it's pretty functional. And so let's put this back on. You see the back kind of slopes down, very much like the Droid Charge, or very similar to the Droid Charge. And let's get this back up here. 2,100 milliamp hour battery. Granted, it has 4G LTE capabilities. That said, that's a nice battery for a starter device with a 4-inch display. So Android 4.0, like I said, support for all the Google services, of course, and then you have Google Talk, Google Maps, all that jazz. 600,000 apps to download from Google Play, according to the spec sheet, which I'm cheating off of and reading right now, because there are just so many phones that come out. I want to make sure I get all the specs just right for you guys. Design-wise, very traditional Samsung here. Power button on the right side. You've got your 3.5mm headphone jack on top. You've got a ton of stickers on this device that I'm trying to remove. And then you've got Samsung logos. Starting up now. Volume rocker over here, micro USB charging port at the bottom. You've got 4 capacitive buttons at the bottom. You've got back, home, recent applications, and a physical menu button down there as well. So obviously, just pulling this out of the box, the first thing I noticed coming from something like the Galaxy S3, coming from something like the Droid Razr M, the $99 price point, the screen is 4 inches, so it may be a little bit small for some people, maybe perfect for some people coming from another iPhone or something of that nature, or it may be too small. I'm also noticing, of course, the 800 by 480 pixels WVGA display here. It's noticeably less than something like the Galaxy S3 or the Droid Razr M or the HTC One X over on AT&T. Otherwise, very similar look and feel here to what you would expect on the Galaxy S3. It's got the TouchWiz user interface running atop Android 4.0. Very typical look and feel. 5 home screens here, so you don't get 7, you get 5 home screens on this device, and then you get Verizon's pesky little Wi-Fi notification that stays in there that you can't remove. You know how much I dislike that. Unfortunately, Verizon has opted to put that, it looks like, on future devices for the holiday season, or at least for the remainder of the holiday season. We'll see if that sticks around. I imagine it's a new policy for them. Have they gone to the tiered data plans and things like that? Unfortunately, it looks like you can't remove that feature. Now, this thing is Samsung approved for enterprise, also known as safe, so you can get stuff like 256-bit encryption, you can access VPNs, and more, but it also has a starter mode. I'm going to show you the mode change here. This is standard, and then here's the starter mode. So let's say you're buying this again for grandma, for mom, for a first-time smartphone buyer, and you want to make it easy, well, you can apply starter mode. And this is a market that both Verizon and AT&T are really trying to pick up on in the holiday season. AT&T is rolling out devices like the Pantech Flex, and it has something called Simplicity Seeker. It's part of their Simplicity Seeker line. So obviously Verizon and AT&T are kind of moving towards this, where they want to make it simple for people to migrate up into smartphones, and they give you stuff like, or Samsung and Verizon, I guess, partnering, give you stuff like a keypad thing here where you can access it directly from the home screen as opposed to having to go into the phone application and doing it that way. Otherwise, typical Verizon stuff out of the gate here, Vcast apps out of the box. You get Let's Golf 3, Mobile Hotspot, My Verizon Mobile, Plants vs. Zombies. You get, let's see what else, Vcast Tones, Visual Voicemail, which is an extra $2.99 monthly, VPN Client, VZ Navigator, and then Zappos. So I will say it seems to be pretty fluid, nice and fast, thanks to the fact that it's got a 1.2 gigahertz dual-core Snapdragon S4 CPU, and of course 4G LTE connectivity here as well. And let's go to CNN. Let's go to Phone Dog. You can see Samsung's keypad installed here. I'm going to come back up here and type this in just so we can see the input methods. Just Google Voice and just Samsung on the Galaxy Stellar. And again, it's very odd to have a physical menu button. You know, we kind of moved away from that in Ice Cream Sandwich, and now some device manufacturers are moving back to that. So it's a little bit funky to see that, but portrait to landscape transition appears to be nice and fast. So again, it's one of those devices where even at the free price point, yeah, you know, you're sacrificing a little bit on the camera front, you're sacrificing a little bit on the starter mode versus advanced mode front, but you're still getting a device with 4G LTE connectivity, a powerful processor, and a really nice battery for free after rebates, which is a really nice touch and a good thing for both Verizon and for Samsung for their product lines. So you can see your pinch to zoom, very responsive, typical Samsung look and feel here with the ability to come up here and add new tabs, to bookmark, and more. So recent applications here as well, and get rid of that. And of course, text messaging interface looks relatively similar here, with again, pinch to zoom being relatively responsive. So all in all, it looks like a nice device, and again, I see this as being great for the holiday season because again, you're going to buy a phone for your kids, you're going to buy one for your wife, maybe she doesn't care for a smartphone, maybe she's used to using that flip phone, or husband, maybe you're going for somebody like mom, grandma, grandpa, dad, somebody like that, and you want to get them something that's decent in terms of specs. It's not going to be slow and more frustrating than usual, but it could be a good device for them. I think this is going to be a great entry lineup or entry device in Verizon's lineup. Keep it locked on PhoneDog.com for more on the Samsung Galaxy Stellar. Be sure to like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/PhoneDog. We're starting up the greatest tech giveaway ever 2. It's rolling out right now, and it's pretty awesome if I do say so myself. So be sure to check it out. You could win a smartphone by going to Facebook.com/PhoneDog and finding out more. Hit me up on Twitter as well. Let me know what you think of this device. Is there a place in the market for these free devices? I'd love to hear from you. PhoneDog_Aaron, Facebook, Facebook.com/PhoneDogAB. Thanks so much for watching. Much more to come on the Galaxy Stellar on PhoneDog.com. We'll see you next time.